Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Cynthia Andros, and I'm the EVP of Marketing at TevixMD, and I'm your host today. Today, we'll be discussing 4 simple yet strategic keys, that you can follow to significantly cut your costs, to reduce your claim denials, and ultimately maximize your operational margins. And some of this stuff you may have heard before, but probably not quite in the context that we're going to show it. Specifically, we'll start by dispelling some long-held industry misconceptions that lead to huge losses in time and money. Then we'll identify some really common operational inefficiencies in 4 areas of your workflow that also lead to huge losses in time and money. During that process, we'll explore certain claim handling details that lead to significantly cleaner claims and expedited submissions. Next, from what we have discussed, we'll boil everything down to the 4 strategic keys. And lastly, we'll show you the solutions in action in a short demo at the end. Real quickly, a bit of housekeeping. I want to direct your attention to the webinar control panel. It has a black vertical toolbar on it. If it's blocking your view, you can minimize it by clicking the red arrow. And a heads up, once we get started, I'm going to unmute everyone. We prefer muting to be under your own control. And if you have the slightest bit of background noise, we kindly ask you to mute yourselves. You can do that also in the little control panel, the little microphone button. Next, we encourage questions throughout the presentation, so please don't be shy. To ask a question, just unmute yourself and step in with your question, or you can type a question into the chat box in the control panel and submit it. And with that said, I'd like to introduce our first presenter, William Todd Andros. Hopefully he's on. Yes, there he is. He had a little technical difficulty. He's the CEO and founder of TevixMD. And take it away, Todd. Uh-oh, he's probably muted.
Just all right. A moment. Thank you very much, Cynthia. Hopefully everybody can hear me all right. Yep. All right. So the purpose of our presentation today is to give you ideas on how to improve your processes and basically reduce your costs and collect more money. So we're going to go through 2 different sections. And the first section is going to be the different areas that you can do. That's what these 4 keys will describe. And the second area will be just showing typical processes that people are using. And then the final one will actually be a demo to show you some of the ideas so that you know what to look for when you're moving forward. So to get started, this slide is very important because it really, in one slide, describes everything that's going on. First of all, most of the healthcare companies we work with, and we've worked with very large ones, still throw a manual process at a problem. Need to fix something, throw a person at it. And it's causing issues. Even with the right technology, if you have the wrong person typing it in, the technology is wasted. The second piece is making sure that you have correct data. So I spent all this money to set up a process, but I use bad data, outdated data. It doesn't matter, then I'm just wasting my money. And we'll go through that again later on. And then the third thing is, a lot of people, as you see on the right-hand side, like to wait. And that's also negating all these other processes. As you see, your ability to collect money from a patient drops dramatically after they leave the office, or if you're not seeing the patient, after you've done the test and sent the test and got it done. The faster you can reach out to your patients, whether it's through email or texting, the faster you're going to get paid. So let's move on. All right, misconception number 1. Finding insurance equals getting paid. Now, let's put our minds to the right-hand side and see that graph. In the old days, that graph, the patient's name would be so far down that list you wouldn't care. And it worked. If I found insurance, chances are that they had met their $250 deductible and I would get something. Today, not true. With Obamacare, the average lower end of the deductible range is $2,500. Some of the deductibles go up to $10,000. So if you see a patient and you get all the insurance information and you use Tethex, you have the right information, but you don't take care of that before you see the patient, chances are your EOB is going to come back with no payment. And that's because chances are your services cost less than the remaining deductible and you won't get paid. So it's not true if you find insurance equals getting paid anymore. You know, a lot of companies have spent time going and making sure it was collectible and the co-pays and all that. That's small when only copay covers, let's say, $30 and my bill is $250. So number one, finding out insurance doesn't mean automatically you're going to get paid. In fact, it's probably an 80% chance you won't. Number two, all data is created equally. Again, a misnomer. If you have information, let's say a patient walks into your office today or your hospital, or you get a lab, again, you're a path lab or something, and you get a record that was correct. As soon as they leave, they could be moving the next day or the next month. Their insurance could be turned. You need to make sure that your data is as accurate as a credit card or like in the pharmacy. No pharmacy ever lets you walk out without paying. And when in doubt, they make it self-pay. Same thing has to be true for hospitals, generic labs, path labs. I don't care who you are, you now have to assume you are in a retail market. And if you're letting them go, you're giving them the services. Well, if I don't have the right information on the status of the insurance and then what we just talked about, that deductible, chances are I'm not going to get paid. So that graph on the right, garbage in, garbage out, is still standard in this industry. Number three, oh, that's all right. I'll throw a person at it. It's not that expensive. Not true. Again, by doing this after the initial touching of a claim. So again, if you're a path lab and you're getting your information every day and you're waiting to clean that information, you're throwing yourself in that manual bucket. And again, we'll talk about the procedures or your processes that are as a result of this. But notice that if you have any human touching anything, it's very expensive, and you only use a computer. And that also means I get that information out to the client faster, and I engage their ability to pay. Fourth one, I have to redo all of my IT to do this. Not true. The nice thing is there are web services out there that can be bolted on without getting IT significantly involved. So the four things are, hey, I can't do this manual. I gotta have the right data. I gotta do it quickly. And the fourth one is, I don't have to have this big IT overhaul and capital budget to do it. So let's talk about those four things. I just kind of stole from this slide, but it's all right. Finding insurance doesn't mean you're gonna get paid. Not all data is created. We'll go through that again later on. And then my current procedures for validating the claims are inadequate because they're adequate because they're behind the time you see the patient. And then it's going to be a big lift to make the changes necessary. So a couple questions you can ask yourself to determine if those four things we just talked about are true or not on yours. If you can go to your LIS system, your order entry system, I don't care which one, is your billing system, are you able to get, you've probably never met William Andros. Can you type in William Andros and have it bring back information? I bet the answer is no. And the last one is, getting to that information, is it difficult? Or can I do it with just zip code, driver's license, last name and first name? Let's go through and see all that. So now let's talk about that, the impact on order entry, because people do things manually or they don't validate. First thing is, you look at this one and you say, all the information provided is unvalidated. Here, I'm taking the patient's word. I've got data from the last time I visited. Somebody took the information, it's correct, and typed it wrong. Or I'm trying to pull it up from an old claim. Poor data quality. It's old. Again, let's go to that credit card example. If you go back and you look at the data you're getting, it's old. So as a result, it's driving all these things going forward. Right? I got poor data. I'm not validating it at the front. As a result, my claims are coming back, and I'm only getting paid for a portion of them. And now I've got staffs of people trying to go online and fix it. Now, one of the misnomers you saw earlier was, oh, free websites. No such thing as a free website. You saw it was $4.50 to pay a person to have a PC, go on the internet, and check that information, assuming the information you're using to check it is correct. So now we're spending a significant amount of time fixing all the garbage in that we allowed in at the front end. That's why it's so key to do it when those things first hit you, whether it's a path lab or you're seeing the patient or a hospital, etc. Check it initially. And that way, as it goes through the system, it's accurate. And then as a result, of course, now I've got this payment process, which is paper, and most people throw it away. It's outdated. You're creating bad will with your clients and your patients because they're getting nasty emails and calls for a demand of payment that they didn't even realize they owed. And that's the second piece that's going to happen is the more you can reach out to your client, let them know what it's going to be in advance and do something and deal with it in advance, the more likely it is they're going to pay. Okay. So 4 points getting this to addressing this thing on the right. Eliminate manual entry and validate that person's identity every time. Not, I'll do it every 6 months or I'll do it every 3 months. No, just like put a credit card mentality in your mind. Number 2, make sure that what you're using to validate it is correct. A lot of systems use old information. And Tevix has something unique, and that is that all of our information is being viewed and validated all the time. Number 3, start engaging that patient in payment as soon as you can, so that they are not surprised by some big bill and they're like, I don't have that kind of money. And then they got nasty people saying, and then make it easy for them to figure out a way to pay you and it not say, oh, by the way, you need to go to that patient payment system and start a loan. Again, it's just not, doesn't create goodwill. So here are a list of some of the companies that we're currently working with, and let's get to the demo. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to log into a demo and see some of this stuff in action. So I can put in my name, last name is Zip, but I think it would be more powerful if somebody would be willing to let me run them. Remember what one of my statements was, it's got to be accurate, and can you use last name, first name, and zip code and find a patient that's not in your system? Is anybody willing to let me put in their name and zip code? Sounds like a no. So let me put in mine. If you want to do this without people watching, of course, contact us. All right. So what you saw a bar go by at the top. And what it just did was it went through over 3 billion records, 300 million people, and it found William Andros. Now, one thing is, you'll notice that it says verified on the right-hand side. So this patient may have never been to me before, but somebody in the Tevix system, nationwide, saw this patient and validated their benefits. So when I click on it, I don't have to do anything. All the identity is there, the benefits is there, and it's running through it while we're watching. So guess what? Florida Blue Cross Blue Shield just showed up and said, guess what, Mr. Andros? You have a or Dr. Andros, this patient has a $2,500 remaining deductible. And by the way, since you didn't collect last time, there's a previous balance, $231.78. Okay, so today's procedure, let's pick a couple. So this patient's today's procedure is going to be $391.35. This patient's going to owe you that much money when the EOB comes back. You want to let them walk, or you want to use a simple credit card based payment system that allows you to set up payments right now. Now there's a lot more to Tevix Pay. I can do a future payment, so I can set up and hold the credit card token. We don't store card data, so that when the EOB comes back and it is $391.75, I can start payments, etc. But in 7 seconds, I validated this person's name, date of birth, and social, and address. We ran a live 270 to get back the complete status of this person's eligibility, and we know that we better collect our $391.35. Now, the next piece is I want to take this information and move it into my IT. Remember, Andros, you told me I don't have to redo my IT. Well, there's 2 ways to do it. Let's do it the cooler way, and then we'll do it a little more manual. Here example is an example of one of our clients, MedLabs. They use Orchard software. What we've done is we've created a product we call the integrator. And again, anything I'm showing you should be your list of requirements when selecting anybody, even if you don't want Tevix. Those things should be on your list of, I've got to be able to do at least these things when searching. All right, so I go in, I pick my provider. Now, this is set up the way this client wants it. Your configuration would be different because everybody uses their billing systems, their order entry systems, whatever, differently. But notice you got Tevix integrated. So when I click on the patient search tab, Tevix automatically comes up. They don't have to click to a separate item. Same thing, I can type in Andros, I can type in W, and I can put in the guy's zip code, and I can, there he is. And I can click on it, showing the whole thing. And guess what? When I hit close, there it is. I'm gonna stop my billing process. In that case, I don't have to do any transfers or anything. It's all built in. Depending upon how you configure it, it'll drop the patient information, it'll drop the order information, and you can do the billing. If, for example, we were just talking to a client that was doing edits. So they were editing information that they'd gotten previously, and they wanted to push it into their billing system. Well, we have a way for that too. Here's a transfer agent. So in this case, I've edited this guy, I've got the proper information, and I want to push it into my billing system. Again, and it can be anything. We create a transfer agent, and when I hit patient information, you're going to see that it literally types it in. And why is that important? Remember, number 1 on our list, eliminate manual entry. Nothing would be worse to pay for Tevix and still have the person fat key it into the other side. So what we did was we showed how to find somebody with 3 names. We showed how to get data as of 3:22 p.m. East Coast time. Got that credit card mentality. Then we showed you how to push it in. And we also showed you that, hey, you better start collecting, and there are ways to do it. So again, if you don't see the patient, what you would do is immediately be sending out emails. Or if the cost is high enough, maybe even a phone call. And then having a website, making it easy to say, okay, well, I didn't expect $322 or $391, but $39 a month I can handle because I don't expect to be back here soon. Okay. All right, let me pull back our PowerPoint. Any questions? I went through 18 slides and a demo in what, 22 minutes. Now's the time to ask questions.